Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Wanted to make a quick little video, give an update on the transfer portal. Josh Heupel met at the Rotary Club in Knoxville just recently, and he provided an update. A lot of speculation over the last few weeks or month of what's going on. Why is Tennessee not having success? Why are they failing in the transfer portal when just a year ago we saw this coaching staff have so much success? So we'll take a look and see what Josh Heupel had to say. But as always, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. If you would so kindly press that little thumbs up. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. I would appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. Nobody here is pretending to be an expert or an insider. This is for the fans, by the fans. We are fans just like you. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me last night for the NCAA 2013 Dynasty Mode. Had a good time, laid back. Felt like just, man, it felt like old school. Hanging out with my buddies, playing video games, shooting the bull, talking Tennessee football. So thank you to everybody that tuned in for that. But let's jump into this article. It's over at 24/7 Sports. Heupel explains Tennessee's approach to the transfer portal this offseason. This is written by Patrick Brown. It says here, throughout his first year as Tennessee's head coach, Josh Heupel likely grew tired of all the questions he had to answer about the NCAA transfer portal, specifically all the players the Vols lost to it, despite most of the departures coming before his hire in late January. Man, go back. I know I've said this a lot over the last few weeks, but it's just reflection on how far this program has come. 2020 COVID year, all SEC schedule. Tennessee only manages to win 3 football games. The firing of Jeremy Pruitt, all the drama, the turmoil, the turnover, all the guys flooding the transfer portal. It felt like this program was at absolute rock bottom, but sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to start climbing back up, to start moving forward in the right direction. Goes on to say here, as his second season that Tennessee gets underway, Heupel is still getting questions about the portal, but they are of a different nature. While several opponents on the 2022 schedule added transfers left and right over the past few weeks, Tennessee has made just one addition from the portal so far, and Heupel was asked on Tuesday why the Vols have not been more active. Again, part of his appearance at the Rotary Club of Knoxville took a few questions from fans, and one question was about the lack of portal activity, prompted Heupel to suggest the Vols were still dealing with the fallout from the NCAA, an internal investigation into recruiting violations by the previous coaching staff, and thus intentionally didn't add more transfers to put ourselves in the best position long term. Went on to say the Vols would be more active in the spring. Tennessee added 8 transfers after spring practice in 2021. So a lot to unpack there. Again, we have been speculating, kind of reading between the lines with things that Brent Hubbs over at VolQuest was saying, or Austin Price, or message board rumors. You're kind of reading between the lines what's going on here. And Josh Heupel confirms what we thought to be true, that they are dealing with the fallout from the NCAA investigation, and they didn't add more transfers in order to put ourselves, that's the quote, put ourselves in the best position long term. So again, some type of scholarship reduction after we get through the spring semester, that's going to open up. Now, on the flip side of that, Tennessee added 8 transfers after spring practice in 2021. A lot of people out there are in panic mode. They're saying, Boogie, what are we going to do? There's not going to be anybody left. All the good players are gone. Wrong. Be patient. Let's wait and see. Again, go back to what Jason Swain said a couple of weeks ago on his radio show. Talked about how there are back channel communications going on. There are players that are interested in coming to Tennessee. Be patient. This NIL is working. Tennessee's NIL is one of the top 10 in the country, but we'll see. We'll see. My plan is to be patient, let this coaching staff work, see what happens. If we get through spring practice, if we go through summer, into the fall, and Tennessee has not added anybody in the transfer portal, maybe at that point, I'll start to get concerned. Maybe some red flags will start to go up. Says here, Tennessee announced in November it had completed the investigation into the alleged actions of the former coaching staff and would not impose a bowl ban for the 2021 season, but the program hasn't officially announced any other penalties or restrictions it might self-impose, among them potential scholarship reductions. Here's a quote from Heupel: "I don't think you can build your football program and your roster strictly through the transfer portal." It goes on to say, and I say that meaning that in a combination of pieces, the focus has to be the building of your program, guys that are going to truly be bought into your culture, that are going to know the culture, that are going to grow inside of it and grow in their ability to play at the highest level. He goes on to say a portion of what we did here this offseason is we aligned forward the things that we wanted to do inside of our program to protect ourselves and put ourselves in the best position long-term with some of the things that we're dealing with before I got here. So again, sounds like he's talking about the scholarship reductions there, but again, talks about culture. And that's a word that got thrown around so much when Josh Heupel was first brought to Tennessee. Some people acted like it's coach speak, that it doesn't really matter. But I think we are the type of kid that Josh Heupel seems to be recruiting. When you see their interviews, whether they're high school recruits or guys that are, JUCO guys, whatever it is, when you see their interviews, that they seem to be well-spoken. He truly seems to be recruiting a good quality, not just athlete, but kid, person. That's how you change the culture. So there's a lot of evaluation when Heupel is looking at these kids in the portal. And there were a couple out there that we were running with as fans. Some of those running backs in the portal we wanted. Zach Evans, number one priority, number one target, we wanted. Say what you want. This coaching staff sat down and talked to him and did not have any further interest. That's all I need to know. The article goes on here to talk about Gerald Mincey, who played 2 years for the Gators, has 3 years of eligibility remaining. It's the only scholarship transfer added for Tennessee, but they also added Navy Schuler, Charlie Browder, and Jackson Hanna as walk-ons. Again, kudos to Spire Sports Group, adding 3 legitimate 3-stars playing for legitimate teams. These are not your typical walk-ons. So kudos to Spire Sports Group for getting it done, adding Navy Schuler, Charlie Browder, Jackson Hanna. Big expectations for Gerald Mincey. Can Gerald Mincey push for that starting job at tackle? Goes on here to talk about the guys that Tennessee missed on. Obviously, the transfer from Albany, Jared Verse, who picked Florida State over the VAWLS. Wyoming wide receiver Isaiah Nair, who committed to Tennessee prior to taking his official visit and flipping to Texas. But again, a lot of people, I'm to blame too. I'm just like you guys. Sometimes I'm emotional. Sometimes I overreact. A lot of people put the blame on NIL for Isaiah Nair, but once the story comes out, it sounds like Tennessee's NIL offer was way better than what Texas offered. Way better. Isaiah Nair had personal reasons. He wanted to stay closer to home. It is what it is. Sometimes that's what it comes down to. Also says here, Tennessee hosted Auburn defensive lineman Marquis Robinson on an official visit during the final weekend of January, but he remains undecided on his plans. And again, that one's not done, still playing out. So where do we go from here? We're going to get through spring practice, evaluate the roster, and see what Josh Heupel and this coaching staff does. I've said these names before. I've got videos on all 3 of these guys. If you've not watched them, go back and watch them. We kind of break down who they are, where they're from, and the scouting report. But 3 names I would recommend that you keep an eye on. Brew Mccoy, former USC wide receiver. A little bit of baggage there, but he was an absolute stud, 5-star recruit coming out of high school. But again, there's a lot of baggage. Can they clear what went down at USC? We'll see how that plays out. But I think he is a guy that could come here and make an impact. Tyler Steen, offensive tackle from Vanderbilt. Played a lot of SEC football. Good football player. Could come in and immediately push for the starting job at right tackle. And then also the one we just mentioned there, Marquis Robinson, Auburn defensive lineman. But we're going to see another wave, guys. We're going to see a wave of guys after we get through spring practice, guys that feel like they're not going to be able to compete for playing time. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you've got a kid from Alabama, a kid from Georgia, wherever in the SEC that can't necessarily get on the field, they could come here and help. They could add depth. So we'll keep an eye on the transfer portal as we move through spring practice. That's going to wrap it up for this one. You guys know what to do. Hit that comment section and let me know your thoughts. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Also, check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' VAWLS. All the links are in the description below, but that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope everybody has a great Friday. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.